what is going on? We have Paul, aka Philly Phlipper, here.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for joining, Paul, man.
This is an honor and a pleasure to talk with a great tie.
Not at all, man. Not at all. Let's get started. Kind of jump into your reselling career. So, kind of give everybody the on YouTube and the podcast. When did you get started? How long you've been reselling for?
So I got started as part time June 2019, so 2 years ago, and then I went full time end of March of this year. So I've been full time for a couple months now. I got started because of a Gary Vee podcast. He encouraged all of his listeners to go to yard sales during the summer of 2019 and make like an extra 5 grand in income. And I had no clue that was an option before.
Mhm.
And then when I went to yard sales and saw I could buy something for $1 and sell it for like 50, I was like, okay, I could probably do this. So I got hooked right away.
That's kind of cool. I started with Gary Vee, the same thing. 2017, like Flip Challenge got me back into the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. That
It's
guy's
pretty,
put a mark on the reselling space, especially.
yeah. He does a lot of things for like businesses, for resellers. I think he single-handedly brought cards back, like sports cards. Before he was talking about the sports cards were worth nothing, but then he started hyping them up, and now sports cards are worth a lot as well. So he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, 100%, man. Then what's your best find so far? And you're going full time at it right now, correct?
Yeah, I've been full time for 3 months now. Um,
Congrats.
Best finds, I don't even know. Like I buy most of the stuff like before the summer. I buy mainly storage units. Then during the summer, I go to yard sales and stuff. And then after the yard sale season's over, I go back to storage units. So I think I've sourced more from storage units than anything else. And from a storage unit, my best find was a dagger. It's in my house, unfortunately, not here, so I can't show you. But it's a dagger from like the 1400s. That's what it was appraised at. It's a Persian dagger, so it has wood and it has inlay of a pearl on it. So
Nice.
somebody used it in the 1400s, apparently. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. And then what made you start doing the storage units? I know you just said you do winter time, correct? You do the storage units. I'm guessing you're up in Philadelphia.
It's, it's,
Philly
it's just,
Phlipper.
yeah, that's smart. That's very. It's a very good brains you got there, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Click on occasion, man. Click on
Yeah,
occasion. So what made you do storage units, and kind of what's any secret you can give anybody that why do storage units work?
storage units. I think you just boredom. That's pretty much where I started. Because like in June, I was doing yard sales in 2019. I was doing yard sales June, July, August, and September. Then it started slowing down, and I was like, okay, I want to keep buying stuff, but there's no yard sales, and the thrift stores around here are very pricey, so I don't want to do that. So I always watched storage wars on TV back in the day. I never thought it was like real. I thought that was like actually a real thing. But
Yeah.
then I started Googling, and I was like, okay, it's actually auctions here. And well, like what I do is like if I'm trying to commit to something, I try to commit to it right away. So I Googled it for one day, and the next day I bought a storage unit. So it wasn't like me debating, like, oh, should I do it, should I not? It was like, okay, I bought a storage unit, and my second storage unit, I spent $10 on it, and it had Burberry shoes, Jordan shoes, Burberry clothes, all this stuff that I probably had like close to 2 to 3 grand worth of stuff. I spent $10 on a storage unit, and again, that just pretty much just hooks you right in because you're like, okay, it's pretty good ROI for $10 and you get like 3 grand out of it.
Yeah, 100%. And then, so in those storage units, like, so you say you look through them fast. Are you only doing online, or are you doing in person as well?
I used to start in person,
Right.
but with the whole pandemic happening, all the in persons pretty much went away, and now
Interesting.
they're online. And then I talked to some because before I went full time, I owned a moving company.
Mhm.
So I was familiar with storage units because everybody that I moved, they moved into storage places. So I knew a lot of the managers beforehand. So I was friendly with a bunch of them and said, hey, when's the next auction? Could I maybe preview it and stuff like that? So, but now that I talked to them, I'm like, hey, are we going live anytime soon? And they said they're making too much money online. So they don't see it going live in the future because just they don't have to hire an auctioneer anymore. You don't have to get any extra like, the labor. It's all online and people pay crazy monies for it. So I don't see it going in
Anywhere
person
soon.
again.
Do
Yeah.
you do you think it's better for people to start out or be in the middle of the reseller career to start doing storage units, or when's a good time to people to start that? Because I know a lot of resellers either go to the thrift, a lot of do garage sales, right? Some even build out their own like product intake, right? So like, when do you think people should actually get started in storage units, and do you believe people should right now either way?
You need a lot of prereqs to get into it. That I wish I knew that before I got into the game. Like you need space because when you buy a storage unit, you have to buy everything, and you only have 2 days to clear it out. So you need somewhere to put all that stuff into. So right now, I have a 4,000 square foot warehouse. I have a box truck, and I have 2 employees on hand. So because of all those, I can buy as many units as I want because I have the space to store it. I have a big vehicle to bring it back and forth. I have people to help me out. A lot of people who they don't know about that when they get into it, and they buy a 10 by 10 unit that is full, and they're like, okay, what do I do now? I have a Camry, I have a 1 bedroom apartment. Where do I go from here?
Yep.
So unless you have all those prereqs, I wouldn't recommend going full in like I did. But you can definitely like search and see, okay, oh, this is a small one, this is a 5 by 5 that just has a bunch of boxes or something, and you can probably handle that. But a lot of them, when you buy, you have to buy everything. A lot of them have heavy furniture and have big items, bulky items. So if you are like ready to deal with that, then you can do it. But it's a lot of work that people don't realize.
For the bulky items, what are you doing with those?
They're in my warehouse now, but I sell them. I sell all the bulky. I love units with furniture because I can flip furniture in 2 to 3 days. I can sell a couch in 2 to 3 days, dressers, all that. So I pretty much just bring them here. I clean them up. If it's something minor, like a little like thing I need to adjust, I adjust it. If it's beat up, I sell it as a restoration piece. Right now, there's a huge market for people who want to buy old furniture, restore it, repaint it, and before I used to throw it all out. Now I just sell the restoration pieces, and they still move as well.
Interesting. Where are you selling it mostly on? I'm guessing OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist.
Offer up Facebook Marketplace and next door.
Next
I
door.
don't use Craigslist. Yeah, Craigslist is too many scammers on it, so
Okay.
I'm not a fan. But mainly Facebook. Facebook is probably I would say 80% of the stuff I sell locally is on Facebook, and then the next of it is offer up next door.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing with Facebook. Facebook Marketplace is starting to take over a lot of actually traction. It's insane. It's insane. So everybody's out there that's listening, jump on Facebook Marketplace as soon as possible.
Yeah, I've been preaching that for a couple months now, especially the online marketplace. People say, "Oh, eBay's going to be the future." I'm like, I don't see it. Especially if Mark Zuckerberg wants to take over eBay, he has the network to do it. And especially if they incorporate some kind of affordable international shipping, and then that gives your marketplace access to the 2 billion or 3 billion users they have, then it's going to definitely blow up. But even right now, just with the USA shipping, my Facebook is going crazy with sales. So in the future of that, it's going to be huge for sure.
Two things in that. One, I never even thought about the how many users they have. That's insane. Like to even think about that. If you're 100% right, if you can open up the rest of the world, it becomes so powerful. And then I had a follow up question, but I just forgot. Oh yeah, what percentage of your sales are shipped on Facebook Marketplace, and what are only local?
Wow. Uh, 2 months ago, it was about 100% local, and then I got into the whole because I never saw Facebook as like a means to something small. I always thought, okay, I must sell my dressers, my couches, my electronics on it. And then
Yep.
2 months ago, I started getting into it, and it was like slowly like dipping my feet in the water, testing it. And then when I went below standard on eBay for a month, I pretty much had no chance but to try to go to other platforms. And I remember I tested it one weekend with Facebook. I listed 100 items in a weekend, and it took me almost no time because Facebook is super quick to list to.
Yep.
And out of those 100 items, I think like 14 or 15 of them sold in 2 days. So it was like
Yeah.
15% like turnaround in 2 days. I was like, okay, Facebook has something to it. And some of those items I had on eBay for months already, and they weren't moving. And then like I don't know how Facebook does it, but some items they just pick up, and I get like 800, 900 views in 2 hours on that item, and it sells really quick. And so I don't know if it goes into some kind of the algorithm. I wish I knew how Facebook worked. I would have a lot more money if I figured out that. But it's crazy right now. Yeah.
Have you used the promoted listings yet?
I haven't. I haven't tried it yet.
Those are freaking powerful.
Should I?
Powerful. Uh,
Really?
I ran a
Okay.
test, so I'll kind of give everybody the background. We have a large opportunity that came to our hands, right? I ran a test on a few pieces of items, basically 90,000 units coming to us, right? And we're like, okay, how can we move these? Best way to do is face a marketplace, and we ran a day promotion on it, and the reach out was 200, 300 times more 300% more. So 3 to 4x, give or take, in terms of more people reaching out with $1 a day promoted on
Wow.
Facebook Marketplace. Insane.
I know they're at. Do they use their like ad platform for your thing? Is that what happens?
Yep. So yeah, if they use
Okay.
Facebook Marketplace, and then you hit that promoted listings on Facebook Marketplace, and then it'll use their ad platform to then promote. And it's so cheap because they do a if anybody like, so how Facebook works is a bidding system. There's a floor, right? There's no floor. So zero could be the floor, a penny could be the
Yeah.
floor. With this, it's even better because you're competing with no one on the marketplace. So
Mhm.
like a dollar goes 100x further than a dollar would on their normal ad platform, which is crazy.
I know I used it before for my business. When I used to own a moon business, I used to run ads on Facebook, and I would see those ads on Instagram, on anything else that Facebook owned, and it was like very targeted because I could target it to first-time homeowners, to real estate agents, to stagers, and my ad will go right to them. And I also paid like 3 or 4 hours a day for my ads, and yeah, I would see great results from it. So if it's the same platform they're using for the listings, then I could definitely see how powerful it would be for sure.
Instead of like it's kind of like a promoted listing on eBay though. You don't actually target anymore. I think it just promotes it to the top of their marketplace. Is what I've only run a limited test, so I don't know completely, but that's what it seems on that side. But it was insanely powerful. It was wild.
I'll definitely check it out. Is for $1 a day, it's definitely worth a try, right?
Yeah, yeah. Especially with the amount of leads it gives. Yeah, 100%, man. It's well worth it. So let's go back to that moving company. So what made you get out of the moving company business?
I'm getting old.
Uh-huh.
It's as simple as that. When I first started, I used to put in 60 to 80 hour weeks because the name of the business was Better Call Paul. So my name is legit like on the business,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like when people called, they expected Paul to be there. So and in the beginning, I wanted to actually like put my name on and say, okay, this is what the business is going to be like. I want this kind of quality. So I have to be at every single job doing every single thing. And then eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to train some guys that I could just sit back, relax, and send my guys over, and they're gonna take care of it for me. So
Yeah.
for 2 years, I had two crews going, really good people, knew what they were doing. I could trust them on every job. But then with moving, people don't only want to stay as a mover for their whole life. So they want to transition to. So my best guys went to college to get a better career, which I totally understand. Then I had to find new people, and this was during the pandemic. And it seems like everybody that I want to hire, they were just not good. And I spent about 6 months going through people like every couple of days because people don't want to work at all.
Yep.
And it was going to the point like, okay, either I have to step back and go through every single job again, or I just X the company, say, okay, this was fun. This was a fun 4 years. Let me go and be a full-time reseller. And it's a lot easier for me to pack a DVD than to lift a couch. So it was like, okay, like Better Call Paul is fun, but we're done. I pretty much I try to like close it out, but even to this day, I still get about. I just got a probably missed call just now. I get about 5 10 calls a day still. People asking help because a lot of
Really?
them don't know that I'm out of business. So I've been out of business since March. Every single day, I get about 5 to 10 phone calls because. And I almost did no in the first month. I did a bunch of in the first year. Did a bunch of like ads on Facebook, but
Yeah.
since then it was all word of mouth, just because people knew they could rely on me, and and they still do it. So if it's like an easy job, like tomorrow somebody needs like a guy to go pack a U-Haul, I still have a couple of good guys. I still send them over and do it. But compared to what we used to do in February, we did like 6 7 moves a day.
Yep.
Now we do about 2 3 moves a week.
Okay.
So yeah, but I still have a little money coming through, but it's not close to what it was before.
And then with that, all those connections, what's kind of your game plan of like how to build? Are you trying to build out your sourcing more in terms of getting like reoccurring product, or like what's your game plan with like how are you trying to build out your sourcing to get more items in, or do you have enough items that you don't need to worry about it?
I have a lot of items, but you could always have more. That's why like I'm happy to be with you guys because the listing is what is taking up most of my time right now. So if I could streamline that process and focus more on building this up and getting more inventory, better inventory, and spend my focus on that, then that'll be a lot better for me. But as far as sourcing is concerned, I pretty much any single job that is needs like junk removal, I say yes to those because I get a lot of free inventory and I get paid to take it away.
Yep.
So I have some companies that like own offices, and they reach out to me when they have like office need to be cleaned out. I always say yes to those jobs. I have a couple of people that I have connections with that do private deals with me, whether it be for shoes or for video games or whatever. So I do that. Like I'd rather buy something in bulk and buy a bunch of it than spend like a weekend going to like 20 yard sales and trying to get lucky. But I'll do it. Like yesterday, I had a connection. Somebody had a yard sale over the weekend and nobody showed up because it was Independence Day weekend.
Mhm.
So she had a yard sale on Saturday and Sunday. Nobody showed up. So she put a deal on an ad on Craigslist saying, if you want to come, pay me $120 and you get everything that I was trying to sell. So I pretty much got her a whole yard sale worth of stuff for $120.
Well,
So yeah, I fill up my truck and I fill up my assistant's van. We filled it up all with like it was clothes, shoes, everything you can name for 120. So I pretty much got it for pennies on the dollar.
yeah.
So yeah,
You can't lose at that point because you flip one or two items that will pay for the whole lot, and then everything else
yeah,
is better.
yeah. She had like a Fisher Price like toy tricycle that sells on eBay for 120. So I sell that, I pay for everything, and then
Exactly.
the rest of it is pretty much pure profit.
I love it, man. And then what kind of give us your goal, like your goals? What's kind of your reselling goals? Are you trying to get to X amount of revenue? You're trying to get a larger location? You're trying to move more volume? Kind of break down that.
I refer to myself as like a ramen seller because I don't like the word bread and butter. So I sell ramen items pretty much. My items are about 20, $30. That's pretty much what they sell for. And so I sell I'm a volume seller. So I just finished packing at like 2 p.m. my weekend sales. I had almost 70 sales on
Nice.
eBay. So it's good. But like, and if I had like better items, it would be a lot better. But my goal is just pretty much financial freedom. That's what I want. I don't have a set amount. I just want to be say, okay, you know what? And I want to take a vacation in a week, and I want to be able to go and say, okay, I have enough financial freedom, I can go and do that, or I want to travel somewhere, have freedom for that. If something happens to my car, my house, I have the financial freedom to take care of that and not be worried about it. And right now, the way reselling is going, I can see that being the best way to get to that step. I definitely don't want to work for anybody else ever again. So
Man. I understand on that. And kind of some cool data that's coming out just recently in terms of clothing. What was it? ThreadUp just put a release that's saying in the next 4 years, reselling clothes alone is supposed to double to $71 trillion business, right?
Yeah, I saw that post. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to get even in more insane, right? Like the more, I think even the furniture part, I think it's like kind of like an under. Yeah, let me ask you a question. Do you think what's the most undertapped market right now to go after to be a reseller? Is it like video games? Is it clothing? What would you say? Or even like how to get items? What's something that no one knows or no one's looking at?
I definitely wouldn't say video games. I feel like everybody and their mom knows about video games.
Yep.
Like I barely find them at all at yard sales because like everybody that's there, that's all they ask for is because I don't know if that's what every YouTuber's talking about. For me, I see there's a lot of value in bats that people don't know about, like the not aluminum bats, but like composite bats, and you can get them for cheaper than video games. You can get them for $2 to $5 a bat,
Yep.
and they sell for if it's a composite, it's for 60 to 200, sometimes $300 a bat. A lot of people don't want to deal with it because they think it's shipping is hard, but legit, you just get the US mailing tube, you put the sucker in, and it's good to go. It takes less time to ship it than to ship a pair of shoes. And I don't think many people are aware of that. So every time I go to a yard sale, there's always bats on the ground, but there's never video games anymore. So
Yep.
I don't think anybody asked about that. So like for me, it's bats, golf clubs. So it's like a lot of sporting goods. I see that also in thrift stores. Every time I go to a thrift store, there usually is something good like that there. So maybe that, but if it's sourcing is concerned, I don't even know. It seems like the regular markets are pretty tapped, especially around me. I'm in a pretty busy area in the Philadelphia area. So my thrift stores, if the price isn't insane, it's been picked through usually. Same thing with yard sales. I usually try to go out of the city like towards like countries more for yard sales because it's been less picked through. So I guess for me, I get my best inventory at storage units with the best ROI.
Okay.
And I think the reason why that's not picked through because not everybody has, like I said, the means to get it like I do. Not everybody has a storage unit, a warehouse, a box truck like I do.
100%. Do you ever think about trying to scale out the storage units, try to buy more? Or like, what's your biggest bottleneck right now? Is it still like the listing part? Since you said you are like a value seller, right? Like you said, a ramen seller. I like that term. Is the issue is like the bottleneck still digitizing the items and getting it online, kind of that inventory sort, or is it like sorting your inventory? Kind of give me your bottleneck right now.
I have a couple. The first one would have been the listing, but like I said, with you guys, I'm working on streamlining that process. And like listen, I think we talked about this yesterday on Drew and Joey show. Like a lot of resellers have like difficulty letting go.
Yep.
You know, like I know how I want to do things, so I'm slowly like letting you guys take over a category at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So like I let you guys take over shoes and let you guys take over clothes. Slowly gonna let you guys take over electronics and stuff because I don't want to like let it fully go until I can trust who I'm letting go to.
Yep.
But if I can streamline all of my like eBay listings, it'll definitely free up a lot more time. My next bottleneck would be probably space here because I'm trying to figure out the best way to move items, but then I clog up space here. Like so, if something doesn't sell for on like 3 weeks to a month, like if it's big, like furniture wise, I have to just let it go. And I struggle with that part because I pay for a storage unit and I want to get maximum value for it. But at some point, that item is just sitting here and taking up space. I could get more stuff through. So that's probably my next thing is if I can fly through inventory every single week, I can buy way more stuff, which I can have potential to get way more better items. Yeah.
On that last one, I had sort of the same thing when I did a estate sale and downsize sale, right? We're running like two trucks that would actually pick up large estate sales. We would deal with the high end stuff. What works for me on that? For furniture, especially any clothes and jewelry and all that jazz, any that doesn't sell or you don't want in your own place, I would highly recommend getting a partner that's a consignment store, consignment store partner, I call them, right? There's kind of different grades, right? So I use three people. Low end, which would take the majority of my stuff if it wasn't damaged, right? They'd be the leftovers. A high end place that would be in the middle of Scottsdale for us, where you can get those higher premium dollars, and then a mid range where you can just dump stuff off if the low end one, if the low, it's a little bit too high for low end, but you still have some volume. I had those three, and it would just be pure checks coming in, which was crazy, right? Like 1 month, I think I made like 8 to 10 grand just as a consignment spit off, right?
Wow.
Which was really
Okay.
unique. And it doesn't clog over spot. They handle it. Sure, they're going to take 50 points, 50%, but you can move a lot of more volume. At least that's what I found was super helpful.
I didn't think about that. And then you have stuff that does like low end stuff for you, or like if it's like a dress yourself for like $40, you have a store that would take that stuff.
Yeah, so I think their minimum was like 50, $60, but they would be like in more of the downgraded part of town. So like in Arizona, it would be like North Phoenix, which like is not the nicest part of town, but they'll take the majority of that stuff. Like they would take filing cabinets and they'd make $40, right? $50. They would take all of
Mm-hmm.
it. It's the connections and finding who will take what is kind of the key to that. If you can do it correctly, then you can just out personally, if it's me, if you have the space too and you want to sell it online, you would just keep the high end stuff and then dump the small end stuff out. That's not worth the extra effort and time.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the issue I have is like I don't want to list this thing and then move it, put it on a dollar, bring it to my truck, and I'm only selling it for like $30. So that's why just it sits here because I'm like, okay, when I don't have anything to list locally, I'll get to it. But it's been here for like 2 or 3 months, and I'm still getting to it.
Yep.
So yeah, that would definitely save up a lot of room. I'm looking at like a bunch of stuff that I could do that I could bring right now.
Even like if you guys do like on that junk removal for like tchotchke, like in terms of like low end jewelry that doesn't like it's kind of costume jewelry. There's a bunch of like physical consignment stores that will take costume jewelry and clothes as well. That like costume jewelry they'll take most
Mhm.
of it. Clothes will be more picky, but you can obviously just get rid of it and it'll pay you a few $100. If it's easy one stop, like it's just hands off.
Yeah, yeah. I have a consignment store that I use for jewelry and clothes, but they don't have any furniture in there.
Mhm.
So, but that's just local here because I'm in the suburbs and not in the actual city. But
Yep.
I'm sure if I reach out to someone in the city, I'm sure they would definitely be open to it.
Yeah, 100%. It's just an idea, right? Like how can you move the needle as fast as possible?
No, that's like where I'm at. That's where that's what I want to be.
Mhm.
I'd rather move it and make a little less money than hold it here and wait for the right buyer.
Which is the correct mindset,
So
right? You see a lot of
yeah.
people that they hold for 2 3 years and it's the wrong stuff when it just like a couple of our biggest players like what they do is they do a 3 to 6 month turnaround. Like one of our guys that does shoes, they'll do 3 months in shoes and they'll drop the price down, drop the price down, drop the price down, and then they'll just liquidate it, right? Just so they can move the volume. But they're working with 400 or 500 units a day that they're listing, right? So a lot of units, but it does work pretty well.
Yeah. No, once you do high volume, speed is more important to you than value. Like
Yep.
that, it's just simple as that.
Yeah, volume equals dollars too, right? Can you move as much? Like you
Mhm,
said, the ramen flipper, right? If you can move more volume instead of like higher end, it's
mhm.
kind of all the strategy, but you kind of either have to go with one or the other. It's hard to mix both like consistently.
Yeah, and I feel like if you deal with ramen items like I do, it's a lot easier to scale. It's a
Yep.
lot easier for you to find a bunch of 20, $30 items than find 300 or 400 items.
Yep.
So if you do what I do, it's easier to scale. So that way, like I can have you guys listed for me. I have a couple of people that are working for me, so I can have to help me pack and ship and organize. And that way, I can continue focusing on buying the stuff, letting HAMMOQ take care of the listing and the cross listing, having my guys take care of the shipping and all whatever. And all I have to do is source, which is the most
Yep.
fun part. So
Exactly. That's what the money's made too, right?
yeah.
Cool, man. Anything else in terms of what's kind of like your next game plan with your business? And then I think we'll wrap it up. Like I think we're past that 30-minute time spot too. I don't want to take any more of your time.
Hey, I don't like next 30 minute next stage of the business, as I was probably going to talk to you about this, is how I can get all my stuff that is on eBay. I think about 4,000 listings on eBay. How I can get them processed to Facebook.
Okay.
Like me and you agree that Facebook is the future.
Yep.
And right now I probably have like maybe 200, 300 items on Facebook, but I have 4,000 on eBay.
Yep.
So if I can get it to Facebook, that will probably give me a lot more eyeballs on it, a lot more sales, especially if I can start running the promotions on it. So, like I said, it's all about speed for me. So if I can flip it faster, I'll definitely do that. In the future, I was thinking about getting a shop, like a brick and mortar kind of store,
Mhm.
kind of like what Pete does with Quickest Hunter,
Yep.
and have inventory come to me and flip it that way. But that's far in the line. The rent for those buildings here is insane. So I don't even want to think about it yet. But like
Sorry.
that's my goal for far future. Yeah.
No, I love it. There's a way to do it like in terms of like scaling out instead of having a physical retail shop. What we see like with those shoe guys or even the larger players, they're finding people that are the middle people to just give them deliver inventory. So let's say we have one person that goes and actually does downsides. Anything left over at downsides, they'll take. If one guy does moving, right? So he connects with movers. I personally do trusts and lawyers for anybody that wants to liquidate high-end items like those, and then they just continuously bring it to your shop, and it becomes very, very powerful, very, very potent quickly. Just kind of an idea as well.
No, yeah, that's something I would definitely want to get into as well. Because
Yeah.
right now I kind of do what you guys do, but with low quality items.
Mhm.
Because people in my family and everywhere else, they didn't think what I was doing was serious, right? They
Yep.
didn't realize what I was doing serious. Now when I started making money on it, they're like, "Hey, I have this couch. Can you sell it? Hey, I have this. Can you sell it?" So I work on consignment with them for 50%, and it has to be a good enough item. So like I have an uncle. That's why I was like today. I was selling an air conditioner. I have
Mhm.
an uncle. I don't know where he gets them, but every like 4 days, he finds 12 ACs.
Nice.
And right now it's 90 degrees here, so I sell air conditioners for about $100 a pop. So every time he brings it to me, it's free 50 bucks in my pocket. And I usually sell them in a day because it's super hot right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of like I do it now. So if I can even scale that up and have more people bring good stuff to me and take a consignment deal on it, it'll be great as well. Yeah.
100%. I was the one thing that we saw with the consignment deal was that like the back end legwork is kind of a pain in the ass, right? Like in terms of getting like distributing the cash, it takes some extra time for sure.
Oh yeah. So when you get the high end stuff from the lawyers, do you just buy them out completely, or do you do it down consignment?
Depends on the price, right? So like recently I got about $250,000 in terms of actual inventory cost of items, right? And that I'll do consignment as best as possible can. Anything smaller, like this one girl hit me up with like these sports cards, I'll buy those out if it's anything that's under like 50, 60 grand. It's just like that's
Mm-hmm.
the headache of small dollar amounts from under 10 grand. It's kind of a pain in the butt to give the dollar amount. And you can make more money if you buy outright and just deal on the side, and there's less actual headache on the back end. But like that, the trust company with the electronics talking about, it's only 25 items. So like the distribution isn't hard at all, right? And then all
Uh,
you do is put them up on eBay and then run an auction. It takes a day and a
no
half.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's all about the sourcing side on that. And then in terms of the Facebook Marketplace, we can definitely do it. Let your VA know, and then you can even break down if it's everything, push everything over. They're more than happy to take those 400 items and make sure those won't go on it twice, and then push the rest of your store over. They'll ask you. We have some cool stuff coming out that'll make it even faster in the near future. That's kind of what we're shooting for. Is how can we be able to list, cross list, instantaneously, delist an account? Those are some big updates. Hopefully, going to be in the near future. Just for
Yeah,
that.
I'm going to talk to you about this later or something because I heard the first time yesterday on Drew Show that Facebook is a new market, and I try to get it on my app, and I guess it's under other. Is that how it works? Okay.
Yep, just put on other, put Facebook Marketplace, and then you have to give the credentials to put in the credentials on that, and then we're good to go. Well, I think the Facebook get to do. There will be an authorization that Facebook's going to ask you for because it's somebody else that's actually jumping into that account. Other than that, then we're good to go. Like Renzi is probably they do a lot of Facebook Marketplace. To be honest, they're killing it on that. They're doing really well. What they do is they don't even do eBay. They do Poshmark, Mercari, and Facebook Marketplace. And
Wow.
their Facebook Marketplace is killing it. They just added Facebook Marketplace, I think, last month, and like their sales are insane on Facebook Marketplace. They're moving volume. They're doing really well.
Now, do you guys just do personal profiles or do you business profiles as well?
It depends on what you give us. We can do either or.
Okay.
We're the next phase is going to be able to hook up the back ends, like our back end to Facebook's back end, in terms of the tech side. So it's going to be talking together, right? That I believe is going to be only on business, if I am correct, from the documentation. But it's still such a new documentation that we haven't implemented yet, so I have no idea. It might be able to go to your personal.
Well, like I would recommend if anyone wants to sell on Facebook to do it through business because Facebook gives you a lot more perks if you're selling through business. You actually even get access to live support, which is
Really?
impossible to get from a personal end. They just put it in like 2 weeks ago that you have like live. It's not live support, but you're actually talking to a human being. Like I'm emailing back and forth with somebody that's Facebook about my marketplace that you
Yeah.
never had before if you had a personal account. You had no way to access them. But with business, they do it, and they run promotions. They run shipping discounts and stuff if you have a business profile. So I've recently just put all my personal stuff on my business profile, and I've been selling it that way. But yeah, that would something I definitely want to do for sure. Can you guys sort my eBay listings from oldest to current? Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely we can do that.
So I can just say, hey, start processing my eBay stuff, go from the oldest to whatever it is now, and
What
then hopefully we'll meet.
is eBay? It does that 30-day turnaround. So like it's gonna be the oldest in terms of that 30-day. That's we can't
Okay,
we can't see the date added because they don't give us that. They don't give it to anybody,
that's
right?
unfortunate.
You just
Okay.
see their most like the 30 days. We can sort from that down. That's about it. Crushing, right?
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, I'll talk to my VAs about it, try to figure out so that see my name doesn't get cross-posted twice. But yeah, I definitely wanted to take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah, 100%, man. Cool, awesome. Paul, first off, thanks for jumping on, dude. Great information, especially on that Facebook business side. That was super helpful, and I'm excited. Let's see where you can be in the next year, man. And congrats on the full-time last
Yeah.
week.
Appreciate it.
And everybody, check out his channel, Philly Phlipper. It'll be down in the bottom there, and also we'll tag your Instagram as well.
Perfect.